So, all right, let's jump into it here. All right, let's get into a little breaking news here. Earlier today, we'll call it breaking. Adam Schefter tweeted out trade. The Browns are trading quarterback Joe Flacco and a 6th-round pick to the Bengals for a 5th-round pick. I know a lot of people in Packer world went, "Oh crap!" If you did not see Ty Schmidt's reaction to this on the McAfee show, it was absolutely hilarious. People have convinced themselves that Joe Flacco was the reason they won that ball game. I don't know how you get to that point, but I still think it's very, very comical and very entertaining. So let's go around the horn with it. Are we concerned that Joe Flacco, it sounds like, too, all signs are pointing to him starting this Sunday as well. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, that's a 3:25 Central kickoff, right? Am I thinking right, sir?
Yeah, 3:25 on CBS against the Bengals. And, yeah, I would anticipate Mr. Joe Flacco will probably be your starting quarterback come Sunday, unless they decide to go with Dylan Gabriel, but I doubt it. Obviously, everybody moves up a step on the depth chart, right? Because they didn't acquire anyone else other than Mr. Flacco. So who knows? But I would think, an OG vet like that, journeyman, they brought him in to play football. Clearly they traded so he could start. So I would anticipate Joe Flacco playing on Sunday.
Yeah. And Tim, you did the same thing I did earlier. I still think he plays for the Browns. You mentioned Dylan Gabriel. Obviously, you mean Sean Clifford.
I meant Sean Clifford. Yep, absolutely.
I did it earlier. I was going, yeah, they got Quinshawn Judkins and this and them. But wait a minute. No, am I living in a damn dream? We just played that game. So
exactly.
It's so
easy
strange.
move for Flacco, though, right? Just a little move, across the state a little bit, one Ohio team to another.
It's so strange, though, Amelia. Like, I don't remember this ever happening in a season. I know it definitely has never happened to the Packers. Do you ever recall you playing the Packers playing, or any team playing a quarterback, and then 3 weeks later, hell, just say any point during the rest of the season, that quarterback gets traded to a team that's on their schedule and they end up playing them again? That's some serious online franchise stuff on that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's some moving some players around there, but week 7. But the only other person that would make me think would be Baker, but I don't even think it was the same sort of like team that they would have played. So no, I haven't. And you probably could just put some stripes on his helmet and call it a day and say he's dressed up for the Bengals. But it was Bucky and DJ. They were joking. They go, "What's the news report going to be? Is it going to be that Joe Flacco was traded to Cincinnati, or was it going to be that Shadur Sanders moved up the depth chart?" And they were cracking up about it. But I'm not mad that we're facing Flacco again. The Bengals have kept their playbook are basically the same. They're still trying to run it like Burrow's back there, and he's not, right? So that's why you got dude throwing 3 picks this past game, and you're going out looking for a veteran. Flacco's just making money, man, in his 40s. What a guy.
Yeah, seriously, man. I know people like to poke fun at it and this and that, but Jacob, he's living the dream, man. He's just bouncing around different teams, playing ball, getting to actually start is what's wild. And like Emilio said, I feel like Dylan Gabriel showed enough there on Sunday that, hey, he is the guy moving forward. So obviously Shadur will be the backup, and now you can kind of get those guys the reps that they need. Obviously Dylan Gabriel getting the first crack at it. What do you think about this, Jacob? It's a little strange.
It's definitely strange. Like Joseph was saying, it's got to be super rare. My friends make fun of me all the time about it. I am a giant Joe Flacco fan. I always have been. If you ever look up some of this story and just kind of what it took for him to get to where he's at now. Just really, really like the guy. That being said, he is about 56 years old and behind an offensive line now that it's really struggling. Obviously, I think he's got an upgrade at some wide receiver weapons, but being with Mr. T. Higgs and Jamar, obviously, so maybe he can just chuck it up there a little bit and just kind of rely on that. I saw Coach in the chat was saying that he's not worried because he's got to learn a new offense in a week. If anybody could do it, it'd be a guy that's a freaking 27-year vet or whatever the hell he is. So I'm sure that they're going to probably dumb down the playbook a little bit. But I am still one of those people that think that he could still be dangerous. I mean, I don't think that he was the reason that we lost that game, obviously, but I think that at this point in his career, he's a field manager, game manager, and that's really all you need to do sometimes to win a game. So I'm not going to take it for granted and think that we got this one on the bag.
Right, and I do think that he will protect the football better than Browning. Obviously, Browning, it looked like an early Christmas last week. He's just giving that thing out to everybody on the defense. So I think Flacco will play better in that regard. And if you're worried, well, can he learn the offense that quick? This is a very, very similar system in Cincinnati. Obviously, you got Zach Taylor, and he just left. Was it Stefanski, right? If I remember correctly, they are all from the Shanahan-McVay tree, if I remember right, because obviously Stefanski got started in Minnesota years ago, if I remember that right. And he ended up in Cleveland. So you guys fact check me on that and put it in the comments if I got that wrong. But I'm pretty sure it's a very similar system, probably a little bit different terminology. But again, he's not going to fit better in this system than he did in Cleveland. There's still going to be a little bit of a learning curve in terms of the terminology and getting on the same page with these other players. But one thing is for sure, Cincinnati's got a lot better receivers than Cleveland does. I think we would all agree there. So let's dive into it, man. A little early preview of the game. You guys know how we roll here. We like to start with the betting line first and kind of see what Vegas sees here. So as it currently sits, PFF has it at 12.7 point favorites for the Green Bay Packers. And the market.
Did you say 12? What did you say?
12.7 point favorites.
BTA. Know what I'm saying?
That's according to PFF. Thank you for finishing that, Tim. The market itself, the actual market, gambling market, has it at 14.5 point favorites for the Packers. So, guys, that's a big number. You guys know me all too well. If this wasn't the Packers, I'd be taking that plus 14.5. I just too many of these games you see, they're supposed to be a blowout, and they end up being at least within a touchdown score. And again, like Jacob said, any given Sunday, anything can happen. So let's kind of look at the point spread we already kind of hit on. Let's talk about where the money's at. 54% of the money is on the Bengals at plus 14.5. I like that. And 52% of the tickets are on the Bengals plus 14.5. When you go to the money line, it's 91% of the money is on Green Bay, and 96% of the tickets are on Green Bay. That market is wild too at a minus 1206. So that's how the point spread sits. Let's go around the horn with that real quick. What do y'all think about that? I'll start with you, Emilio. That's a lot of points. Am I right?
That is a lot of points. And I don't know, to cover that 14.5, that's a stretch. But hey, if we put up a 40 burger last week, maybe the offense, gets something humming and they can turn it around. I would say, it'd probably put us at around 27, 28 or something like that just to start, and then, go from there. But I don't know. That's a big number, isn't it? What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, that's a little too wide of a gap. I mean, I can't remember what the spread was for the Dallas game. I remember thinking that's a little too large as well. And I
say it was around 7, wasn't it, Jake? 6.5 or 7?
I thought it was, even 7 or 8 or something like that. And I didn't feel quite great about that. 14.5. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Like Ron's saying here, that makes me a little nervous. It's kind of the same feeling I get when you watch the pregame show and everyone picks the Packers. I remember my dad used to always say, God dang it. Like he would tell you, I don't want this. I don't want them, because then they get in their own head. However, I am very confident that it seems like that this year the Packers tend to just play better at home. And obviously we got this one at Lambeau, so I'm a little more confident that they're going to come out with the piss hot. So maybe we are going to, hit that double-digit lead there. I hope we do.
Yeah, Tim, that would be the perfect way to kind of get this thing back on track, right? Go out there and have just a dominant performance against a banged-up Bengals team. However, man, when you got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on one side of the field, you've also got Trey Hendrickson that, Lord forbid, you find yourself in a close game, he can change the outcome of a game real quick, getting pressure in the quarterback's face, especially if you're just bringing 4 and you're only got 5 in for protection if you're the Packers. So, I don't know. What do you think about that spread before we dive into some of these other numbers, man?
Yeah, this is going to be a defensive game, I think, for this team. We got to win coming out of the bye, man. We have to. I think if we put 40 points on the board, we win this game. It's going to, come down to how our defense plays, bottom line. I'm not big on the point spreads. This is all might as well be Japanese to me. I just hope we get a dub, man. I don't care if we win by a point.
Got it. All right. Brooke in the chat says, as soon as all 9 of the talking heads picked us before the Cowboys game, I got a bad feeling that came true. Yeah, I seen it too, Brooke. It was like, man, I just turned away. I turned away from the stream. Wait, I got to go in there and wash the dishes. I got to find something. Like, me no likey this, Jan. So, all right, let's look at some of the other numbers. Power ranking overall, according to PFF, the Packers are 5th in the league. The Bengals are 27th. Power ranking on defense, the Packers are sitting 12th. The Bengals are 28th. Power ranking on offense, the Packers are 5th. The Bengals are 31st. It's funny too. They get us 5th, and I'm seeing some people pretend like Matt LaFleur all of a sudden is a horrible coach and doesn't know how to call an offense. Well, in other words, and his strength of schedule played so far, the Packers have only played the 22nd toughest schedule. The Bengals have played the 19th, according to this. All right, now average offensive snaps, the Packers are sitting at 68.8. The Bengals have had 59.2. Percentage of runs, the Packers are at 44.5% run. That's 55.5% pass. And obviously, the Bengals playing from behind most, if not all, of these games. Their passing percentages at 68.6%. So that kind of goes without saying. In terms of EPA per run, the Packers are at minus 0.10. The Bengals are at minus 0.18. And then EPA per pass is the big thing. I think Jordan Love is still leading the National Football League amongst quarterbacks in EPA per dropback. Their EPA per pass is a positive 0.31, and the Bengals are at a negative 0.21. Obviously, that's before Joe Flacco coming in. What do y'all think about those rankings? I'll start with you this time, Jacob. They got the Packers 5th overall, 12th in defense, 5th in offense. Do you feel like those are fair? Is there anything there you disagree with?
I think that's more than fair. And like you said earlier, I think that people need to get the disrespect of Matt LaFleur out of their freaking mouth. It's becoming to a point where I can't even go on social media, especially Facebook freaking groups, man. Stuff that
Facebook's the worst, bro.
It's really bad. And I guess I don't know when the fan base, it seems like over the last 10 years, at some point, there just became a faction of the fan base that just, I mean, they'd complain if they were hung with an old rope. You know what I mean? Like everything is pessimistic. Everything is doom and gloom. Everybody's got to get fired. I mean, the one thing that I'll lean into and that I think I disagree probably with you, Clayton. I do kind of hold like Bisaccia a little more feet to the fire, but the whole talk about the Matt LaFleur thing is so aggravating to me that I can't put it into words. I mean, the guy is like a top 10 winningest coach of all time. He's done nothing but absolutely make a smooth transition from the Hall of Fame quarterback to a guy that everybody thought was an absolute draft bust and a reach. Absolutely it's catapulted him into a great career. You look at, like we just talked about, some of the numbers that Love is putting up this year. For the offense to be ranked 5th overall, I'm totally fine with that. I think that the defense being ranked 12th, you could probably chalk that up to a few drives, and we'd probably be in the top 10. And I really do think that if we can get back to being the type of swarming and overall defense that we started with those first 2 games, this team is going to be on the rebound. And I think that those numbers and rankings even improve.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tim. What do you think about it, man?
Yeah, I would agree with what Jacob's saying here. I mean, feels good to be 5th overall, in the power rankings and things like that. But, 12th ranked defense, I'd like to see us step up. And this is a great opportunity coming out of the bye week. Hopefully we get a couple of guys back and we're ready to go on Sunday. But I really believe this game is going to come down to how our defense plays, honestly. And, we know what it takes to get in Lombardi, right? You got to have at least be in the top 10 conversation, both sides of the ball. And I think realistically the Packers are still a little early in the season, but coming out of the bye at home, you got to get it done, man.
Yeah. Real quick, Amelia, what do you think about Joe's comment saying Parsons better get a hold of Flacco? I don't know if y'all realize how bad the Bengals O-line is. The Texans were getting home rushing 3. 3, he says.
Hey, we said the same thing about the Cleveland game.
Right? I know. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the chat, or Amelia, because I believe Parsons says that he had never gotten a sack on Flacco. So now he's got a shot again to get him. And you think that he's going to take that lightly?
Jacob, that's a great point, because I know that it was one of those where you could mount the head on the wall kind of thing. I think they considered the Dak one a sack, right? That he tripped him up. So he was able to get his ex-quarterback. There's only one quarterback starting left that he needs, and you get another shot at him this same exact season. A couple weeks later, somehow, some way, I think he takes advantage of it. I think that it's going to be, like Tim was saying, big on our defense this week. And it's more of those things like, all right, on the bye week, what would we want to see happen, or what are we expecting? One thing that you could pick to get better. I mean, I would almost say if the defense could force turnovers, that would start pushing this season, over that hump and in the right direction. But they come in bunches. It's like lacrosse. It's a game of runs. You're going to get someone that scores 3 goals in a row, and then you got to come back and answer. So I think that we can get that. But, you could say, hey, do you want the special teams to be fixed, defense to be better, offense to be better? I think turnovers is one thing that we need if we're going to make a deep run. Somehow they just got to fall for us. We need to, hit the luck jackpot or something. But we need a couple more of those to get this defense really cranking.
That's a great point, because that's what was stressed, throughout training camp, right? We talked
Yeah.
about balking and stressing the takeaways, and we just really haven't seen it up to this point.
You get a takeaway. What's that do? It helps Jordan Love. That helps the offense. They get another chance. It's like one hand. They both are going to help each other if we can start turning that ball over. But we can't force it, right? Can't take dumb penalties. Can't put yourself in a bad spot. But let's see if we can't get a couple.
Yeah. Ron Sample says, what happens to the Jordan critics if he throws the INT that Mahomes threw last night? I'll tell you this, man. Mahomes, obviously the Super Bowl rings help, but, man, he could play absolute cheeks out there. And people they'll still give him a pass. You know what I mean? It's just it's absolutely wild to me that they continue to. And what's crazy is it was like 3 or 4 years ago, Michael Lombardi on the GM Shuffle talked about how Pat Mahomes was not playing good football. And this is when they were winning Super Bowl. He's like, that defense is carrying them. And it was like, oh, how dare you? Look at this idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And sure enough, man, you look at the numbers, you truly break it down and what the Chiefs were doing to win Super Bowls. It was that defense. It was Spags. It was them playing aggressive up front, and Chris Jones and everybody in between. It really had very little to do with Mahomes other than, hey, Kelsey, go out there and run a choice route and I'll hit you. That was basically it constantly. So that game last night was wild to watch. So was Jacksonville. Jacksonville looks legit, man. They've got a little bit of team unity, and as much fun as we made of their head coach down there, Liam Cohen, with the Duval. He's got them boys playing, man. You know what it feels like? It feels like Nick Sirianni. Everybody made fun of Nick Sirianni and how he acted in pressers and everything.
Yeah.
One thing about it, they're authentic. And when you're an authentic person, people will follow you. If they get a little sniff that you're being a fraud, they won't listen to a damn thing you got to say.
Clayton, did you see that play? Obviously, I'm sure you did, though, where Trevor fell down. Did you see Chris Jones on that play? He's getting raked across the court, smoked, and then also just kind of gave up. Didn't even care to even jog.
Is that right?
Yeah, he just kind of walked away and watched him get up, and he's like, that was a tough look, man.
That's got to be the most frustrating thing, right? I mean, the quarterback trips over his own guy, then he stumbles, getting up in the backfield. How on earth do you let him score a touchdown there? It's terrible.
I think it's a great point, because we always talk about, I've heard Ryan talk about it, I know Clayton's talked about it, how we as Packer fans see the NFL through a lens, specifically as Packer fans, and we think that no other teams have, adversity and dumb bonehead plays. When I saw that, I went, God, that feels like a pack. Like, it just felt like I could see that happening to the Packers. You know what I mean? And just, you got to fire everybody. It's just, it happens. Sometimes you just have really crazy, spins and twists in games. It's crazy.
Yeah. It doesn't always look pretty, but Fabio's playing good ball so far this year down there.
And what else helps, Tim, is those turnovers. They're leading the league in turnovers with 8.
Big thing.
Fabio, a couple extra chances. Yep. He can make something happen.
Hey, big shout out to Anthony Campanelli, our former linebacker.
That's right, dude.
Who's the DC down there, doing a great job.
Kind of made you think, did he have a little more to do with the turnovers than maybe we understood, right? And, the linebackers, the big knock on them in Dallas, where they were covering grass in those spot drops as opposed to picking up guys and playing aggressive underneath. Maybe we're starting to see a little bit of that lack of Campanelli effect, could be. Now, the defense, I think, is in good shape, just like I think the offense is fine, man. Again, this whole idea that how do you lose to the Browns? I'll tell you how you lose to the Browns. Guys, they go out, they've got a solid defense, right? And you found yourself in a close game. It was a one-possession game, basically the entire game. And when it comes down to that, you're looking at the middle 8, and you're looking at just 1 or 2 plays that can sway that game in either direction. And for all the people that said Matt LaFleur is being too conservative, him being too aggressive is why we lost to the Browns. There's no one who's going to convince me otherwise. That 3rd and short, going into the 4th quarter, let the clock run down and just run the ball, punt it, and make them – actually, the 3rd and short play, the 3rd and 3 play, that was with 3 minutes left in the game. Forget the last play of the 3rd quarter. You can fast forward all the way to 3 minutes left, and it's funny how the people who say Matt LaFleur isn't aggressive enough, they didn't mention a damn thing about us passing incomplete, stopping the clock. There were 3 minutes left, and not forcing them to use their last timeout and then punting at the distance. Instead, we're aggressive. We throw a pick. The shift then goes from, okay, damn, I'm not going to mention that Matt LaFleur is conservative. I'm just going to jump on the Jordan Love is a horrible quarterback train now. So it's just constant.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
So again, man, if you see it, you got to say it. In that case right there, it was on both of them. Matt LaFleur was too aggressive in that situation, and then Jordan Love cannot throw that pass. He's got to take a peek inside and make sure there are no rat defenders underneath that's going to poach that thing. You got to know that. So before you let that ball go and take a sack and be willing to punt it away. I'm trying to think. There was a game I watched. It might have been a part of I think it was last night. Trevor Lawrence right before halftime. Right when he realized he dropped back to pass and they were trying to get something going there with less than 30 seconds left, he realized it ain't worth it to throw it down there and maybe get a strip sack or whatever. He just laid down, took the sack. What ended up happening? They end up winning the game by 3 points, right? If you get too aggressive there and you get a strip sack in that situation, or God forbid you throw a pick and they get a 20-yard return, kick a field goal, now Kansas City ends up winning the game by 3 points.
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
That's correct.
I'd argue, too, that our penalties were sloppy that game as well.
Mm-hmm.
If we can clean that up and be a little more disciplined, I think that, much better chance of winning that game and future games.
Definitely. All right, let's look at the quarterback matchup. Joe Flacco, 60.2. Passer rating when clean, 78.5. Passer rating under pressure, 31.5. Okay. His power rating rank, he's the 23rd best quarterback in the league, according to PFF, in terms of the power rating rank. Jordan Love is sitting 6th. His PFF grade, 82.6. Look at that passer rating when clean, Emilio. My man is picking the defense apart when the offense is blocking. 140.3. The passer rating under pressure, still better than Joe Flacco, but obviously dipped quite a bit there at 48.8. Big time throw percentage. He's almost triple Joe Flacco in big time throw percentage at 6.12%.
I put the team on my back, dude.
So that's all he does, man. Absolutely. And 140 is unbelievable. Keep him clean. Let's get it going. That's why we're trying to build the wall. We got a bunch of, moving parts there. Hopefully people get back healthy and that can kind of turn around for us. But, we're home, so we don't have to worry about the snap count. We don't have to worry about looking between the legs. Like, our timing's going to be better. We'll be able to use those motion, get to your spot, your keys and all that stuff. I think Jordan has a chance to have a real good game this week. And, you don't need to you can play better than Flacco, but you don't need to sit there and say, I'm going to outplay him. Like, dude, it's just going to come. I think it's just going to happen. You don't need to force anything. Take what's there. And I think you going through those things, we've a couple of those where Rodgers had some, hey, you learned at the end of the season about how this loss happened and one thing you can do there. And, Jordan Love threw that pick over the middle against San Fran, right? So you'll have those things where it kind of burned in the back of your head. I think trying to double up against the Cowboys or worried that they would double up, get points, kick it, and then you're kicking into them at half, and they go down and score again. Maybe that's not as big of an issue, and like Clay was saying, just take your time, take your sack, work the clock, and you only have 60 minutes, so let's not waste it.
Yeah, I love what Ron Sample says here. As a Packers owner, I didn't realize I could get a $250,000 fine for flipping Bears fans the bird. Did you guys see Jerry Jones flip the bird, by the way? You didn't see that? Yeah, he flipped the bird at a fan from the upper deck. Somebody got it on camera. It's awesome. He looks at somebody and then he looks at the other guy and just throws the bird up, dude. It was absolutely
Did he
awesome.
actually get fined too?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it was $250, but I heard it was a significant fine. So.
Chump change to Jerry. That's chump change.
Yeah. Jerry said, "Hey, let me go dig that out of the cushion."
Yeah. So you take a check or you want cash? That's what he said.
There's 4 mason jars out back. Let me just dig them up real quick.
All right. You can tell Emilio we've got him accustomed to the South now. New York is no longer a part of his history.
Yeah.
We're burying money in the backyard in Mason. My favorite country line. I can't remember what song it was. Those city folks were drinking out of mason jars, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's over by it's the third oak tree down at the end of the property. You know what I mean? Make sure you don't go to the fourth one.
Don't say it out loud, man. Don't tell everyone.
See,
you don't understand how he operates down there in the South, Tim. That's a booby trap. He just sets you up.
Okay. Got it. It's
all
in
right.
the tree behind that one. Exactly.
Right. Jen Wright said Alabama. Was it Alabama that sang that? I think she might be right. Good stuff. I love it. United Bates says it was $250K apparently. Wow. Jeez, wow. So that is confirmed. Oh yeah, it was $250. Ron says. So anyway, if you guys are watching this video back later, and in terms of the Packers, Bengals, about South Browns again, the Packers and the Browns West. I don't know which one's further east or west. Cincinnati, Cleveland, right. West. I think it'd be Browns West. So let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think the Packers should be 14.5-point favorites? Do you think Joe Flacco is not going to have the success that he had there against the Packers in the first case? And will Micah Parsons get that ever evading sack on Joe Flacco as well? Make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when